Well, welcome everybody to the 25-minute coaching podcast. It's this new series I've created, and the whole idea behind it is to talk to individual agents and take seemingly complex issues or big challenges and obstacles, or it might be just you've hit the ceiling of your potential and you can't seem to be able to break through it, and solve that within 25 minutes. And on top of that, also create a blueprint so that you can double your income. So I'm really excited today because I have April Almeida on the line. How you doing, April?
Good, good. Glenn, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us today. Can you just tell us a little bit about you, like how long you've been in the business, where you work, who
Sure.
you work for, and just give our listeners a little background about you.
Sure. Thanks for having me. My name is April Almeida. I am a real estate agent here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. I'm getting into my sixth year, and I guess anybody who's looking in this area can reach out to me at aprilalmeida.com, or my number is 289-260-4300. I am with Keller Williams Complete here in Hamilton. Just moved in here to this brokerage, and I serve residential, and as of the last 2 years, I'm very focused as well in residential investment as well. So I love the business. I love serving my clients, and I'm here to, kind of boost things a bit.
All right. Well, that was perfect, April. And can you just maybe spell your name or your email
Sure.
just so people on the phone can kind of, if they were trying to write it down, can reach out to you by email if they want?
Sure. It's April Almeida, APRILALMEIDA.com. My email is basically my name, aprilalmeida@gmail.com.
Perfect. Thanks. Okay. So what's the biggest challenge and obstacle that you're facing right now in your real estate career?
For me right now, I'm in a growth pattern, so it's a good place. I'm definitely building the business. It's doing good. I have consistency in buyers and in investment buyers as well, so that aspect is fantastic. My lead follow-up is very quick. But listings, garnering new listings and getting more, well, not necessarily more. I at this level, I've got a young family, so managing too many is not, on my map right now. But just getting more regularly, consistency with getting listings is for me frustrating.
Okay. So tell me a bit more about that. Is it just do you go when you have no listings for a period of months, or you just have one in a month and then sometimes you get overwhelmed and you have five in a month, or what? Just tell me a bit more about that.
Well, this year I've I had a very good spring. I started the year well with one right out of the box in January, so that was great. May I had about 5 in 1 month, and then I don't go longer than a month without one, a month or 6 weeks sort of thing. But I would ideally I would love to have 2 to 3 a month all the time. That's my mini goal right now moving into the new year. But I find even just going that month, currently it's I can manage, because generally the month or two before I've had multiples. That's great, but I don't know if it's just a mindset thing that if I don't have consistent every month that I'm not doing well. I'm kind of up and down, but it doesn't go too long. It used to. Obviously, I'm a little more consistent now where it is growing, but I'd like to take that much higher.
Okay. Well, one of the great things, and I know I talked about this in my book, is this really cool concept called how to get 4 additional transactions from every new listing you take, right? Because I always find that whenever you get on a roll in real estate, it's usually because you've taken a listing or you're working with a buyer who referred you to somebody else, who then referred you to someone else. And then as you get busier, you'll start to watch that deals just start to kind of fall on your lap. And then when you're not busy or you go into a slump, it's the opposite kind of happens, where it's like almost everything you start to touch, it kind of turns to crap, right? It's the weirdest thing, and I don't know why it works that way in real estate, but it's just been my experience. So I would think that one of the best solutions for this is just to kind of slow down the listing process in order to speed up the amount of leads that you're going to get for every listing you take. So an example would be before you put the listing out is to put a sign up on the lawn with the coming soon banner on it, which, other people have done, but they miss the important piece, which is info boxes. Do you know what the info boxes are, April?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so it's like the white plastic boxes, and
Yeah.
they're either see-through or you can hang them on the bottom. And they used to be really popular about 15 years ago, and then they just stopped. But what we've noticed now is that the research is showing us that 88% of buyers of listings will drive by the listing because they found it on the internet or their agents sent it to them prior to actually coming and seeing the property. So whether it's before it's kind of what we call the pre-marketing, a week or two of pre-marketing. So it's not on the internet; they're not going to find it there. But even when it is listed, a lot of them will just go on Realtor.ca and then do a drive-by. And so what I want to try to do is capture them when they're driving by. And the easiest way to do that is to have an info box that basically has all of the details of the listing. Like, it includes the price, the details, the fine details, and then on the back you put some offer. And the simplest offer I've seen is you could put, if you're looking for homes in this area, I'm happy to send you like a free list of the top 10 best homes in this area. No cost, no obligation. And what it does is it just gives people, because what agents try to do is they play this tricky game with the public where they'll put all the information, but they'll omit the price because they want them to call them. And I'm just kind of like, can we get past that? That sounds like 1980 to me. It's just like people want information, and people will do most of their research by themselves. And the way if you can position yourself in the marketplace that you're the provider of information and there's no gimmicks, then people will tend to work more with realtors like that than I got to call you, you call me, and it's almost like this duel. And or you'll see some training classes out there say when someone calls and asks what the price is, ask them what price range they're looking in. And I'm like, oh God, just stop it, just answer their questions. So if we can kind of slow down the marketing and put like the coming soon sign on the lawn with the info box, and then before the listing comes out, I always like to deliver 25 flyers either side of the house and 50 across the street, and invite everyone to a sneak peek agent's open house. Have you ever tried that before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it is so
That
much
sounds
fun.
good.
And it depends on the area you're working in, but because sometimes you'll get I've had as many as 80 people show up at that, and I've had as few as 2. It really depends on how tightly connected the neighborhood is. Sometimes harder on a busy street, but if you're in a good neighborhood, you'll tend to get a lot more people. And so it's just a little postcard. I tend to deliver them on the Monday, and you just kind of knock on the door. And if they're home, you just invite them to a sneak peek. Neighbors only wine and cheese on Thursday night before the listing goes out on the Friday. And what I found is, like on the postcard, it's really easy. You just go, you're invited, to the sneak peek open house. We often find that neighbors have friends and family looking in the neighborhood, and here's your chance to beat other agents and other buyers to the home. So please come by Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. For wine and cheese. And it's awesome. Like, you will find out everything. And I love doing it in areas that I know most of the areas now, but if I don't know a neighborhood, it's fantastic because people tell you, like, I'll go, what do you like about this neighborhood? And people are like, oh, I love the schools. And I was like, oh, which school? And they tell you. So now you kind of like learn what the good schools are. Like, you can kind of learn the whole background. But it actually turns out to be a bit of a kitchen party. And if you can bring, you need 4 bottles of white, 4 bottles of red, a case of water, the cheese platter. So it's about $150. And then what I like to do is have my laptop and a projector or just an iPad where people can search MLS by themselves, and I'll show them how to do it. And I just find it's a great way for people to come in and they're checking out the house and they're checking you out, and you really get to kind of build some momentum on the listing before it actually goes out to the market.
Great. What a great idea. Awesome.
Yeah. And then when it goes on the market, you allow showings, on the Friday, you do your weekend open houses. I also like weeknight open houses. Most people don't do them. But a lot of people are busy on weekends. And I find that from 5 to 8 during the week. If it's an empty house and they'll let you do it, you're going to get a lot of people stopping by because weekends where we traditionally hold them open, some people are just too busy, like they're doing groceries and shopping and their
Yeah.
kids' sports and kids' activities and visiting family and stuff like that.
Oh, great, great.
So what we're trying to build actually is almost like this idea that every listing we take, there's 7 really easy transactions that you can get from it. Okay?
Okay.
So if you want to get a pen, you can write these ones down. But the first easiest transaction that you can get is you could find a buyer for the property.
Mhm. Yep.
They could come through the open house, through the sneak peek, through internet lead generation, Facebook pages, whatever, but you can find a buyer.
Right.
The second is they come to that house, but they don't like that property, so you find a buyer for another property. So that's 2 easy transactions.
Yes.
The next one would be, if you do a great job on that street, is to get another listing on the street because you've met most of the neighbors who came through your sneak peek open house. So you get another listing on the street. Or if you're doing open houses on the weekend and people come a little bit further from just being off the street, you can get another listing in the neighborhood. So there's 4 kind of super easy transactions, right?
Yep.
The fifth one is, well, you can find a home for the seller because they usually have to move somewhere.
Mhm.
The sixth would be you could get a referral from the seller because you did such a great job on their property.
Yep.
And the seventh is if you do find the buyer that you could get the backup property for that person. So those are 7 really simple transactions that if you start to focus on them next year, you're going to watch how many more transactions you actually get because now you got a scorecard. You can put it up on your wall and you go, okay, my goal here is every new listing I get 3 more transactions.
Awesome. Definitely doable, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty easy, right? Because you
Yeah.
control it.
Yes.
And the biggest challenge I find is a lot of agents will list a property. They don't do any of this. It goes on MLS. And then right out of the blue the next day, they get an offer on the property. And so I'll meet them in my office. They'll tell me they've just listed a place. The next day I see them and offers come in and they said, oh, I sold it. And, there's part of me, I'm really happy. Like I'm delighted for them because they've got a transaction. But I want to seriously kick them in the shins because you just blew it, right? You don't have anything on your shelf.
Yeah, that's true. And we've had in Hamilton a fantastic market, consistent. So, yes, I completely see where had I been implementing this already, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's so cool because and I'd always get people to hold off on offers for like a week, and, some people say, oh, well, Glenn, this isn't an area for offers. This isn't, where you hold back multiples. And I'm like, all the research seems to show that the seller gets the most money for their house between day 6 and day 8 of the listing period because it's been out long enough, it's been circulated, you got enough showings, and so yeah, we do get bully offers, or sometimes you can sell in the first day. But I always think that the seller, although they might be happy because they've got young kids and they don't want their house on the market anymore, and I totally get that. And if that's what they want, then you got to work for your seller. But I'm sure most of them kind of privately sit there and go, I wonder if we could have got more money.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, and we do hear that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we do. That's fair.
Yeah. So I think the longer, if we can kind of like set it up in such a way that it's like, okay, a week or 2 to pre-market it, then we do the sneak peek, then we have the public open houses, we allow all the showings, and we hold off offers till the following Wednesday or Thursday. To me, it's become the winning recipe, and I can't tell you the amount of people I've coached that the moment they actually started doing that, they started getting 3 additional transactions. And I think for you, if you're getting a listing in 1 month, or sometimes you have 3 listings, like once you get to 5, this is a little bit difficult for you to do. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so you don't get the time, right?
That's true.
But what if you knew for sure that if you could average 2 listings every month, and that was going to generate between 3 and 6 more additional deals for you? What would that do for you, and what would you think would be your next big challenge that you'd have to deal with?
Well, in thinking day to day, and getting that amount daily, obviously it would be branching out and getting some help, or I guess expanding myself into a team aspect. I think, and I've thought about that, but definitely, definitely getting assistance to maintain that consistency, and that would be fantastic. That's sort of the goal. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I think that the whole transition for most agents in the game they want to play is they usually start. We start as rugged individualists, right? And it's like I'm going to do everything, but then they find that what, there's parts of the transaction that they're so good at, like whether it be getting listings or getting offers accepted or removing conditions and negotiating. That's
Yeah.
really what the consumers are paying us the big money for.
Mhm.
It's not the putting the lockbox on, doing the feature sheets, doing all the
True.
other, 150 things that have to get done every time you
Yes.
you list a property. So I think as you start to progress through this next year and you start going, wow, every listing is just keeping me. It's like I'm just getting busier and busier. It's not a bad problem to have. Some people
No,
are like,
no,
oh my
not at all.
God, yeah, I'm
No,
freaked
no.
out.
I'll take it happily. No, no. I've got that would be lovely, and I definitely foresee it, and I've read up on planning for that. So absolutely, that's the end goal, I think, here, and at least at this stage, to build up to that and beyond. So absolutely.
Yeah. And a great kind of exercise to do too is if you were to kind of on a sheet of paper almost write down, everything that has to get done on every time that you list a property. Just like lay it all out, almost like as
Okay.
like on a sheet of paper, and then put
Mhm.
an asterisk next to the stuff that you love to do, that's your unique ability that you're really good at, and
Hmm.
you do it better than anyone else. So what parts are you really good at better than anyone else, and what parts, and then what you do is you circle the rest of it, and that becomes the job description for the assistant you're going to hire to take over all that part of your business.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Wow, that's
Hmm.
that's I would have not thought of that, but that's brilliant.
Hmm. So, what are the maybe 6 to 8 things that you're super unique at that you love doing every time you get a listing?
Oh goodness. Uh, I gotta think through now. Um, Oh goodness. Well, I mean, my interaction with my clients, obviously, my regular and kind of mapping it out for them, the process and getting them comfortable with the process, kind of that's my sort of pre-marketing thing.
Right.
That's great. I hate paperwork. I hate the
Yeah.
whole having to get in there and submit everything to the office, make sure everything's together properly. Photos not fun, but I do the
Yeah.
marketing aspect. I do like and for me even the interaction with people and follow up and the face to face and whatnot. That's sort of at least that's where my skill is. That's where all my testimonials that come back are all, oh, she was wonderful. She made us feel comfortable. We knew everything that was going to happen. We were, even when things got bumpy, they felt good that they could always contact me. My communication with clients, my being able to be on the ball with that when they're in need. That's kind of one of my top priorities as well, top skills. So the interaction is my main thing, and kind of getting it there. So
Right. And that's probably what gives you energy too, right? Like you
yes,
probably get excited when you have to do the pre-listing consultation, right?
absolutely. Oh yeah,
And when
absolutely.
you have to do the strategy, right?
Yes, yeah.
And when you have to kind of like, okay, we're going to get the house ready, we're going to get staged, I know this, and here's what we're going to do, and the people, like, that's your highest value use. But what you'll find is if your business grows too much and you get to 5 or 10 listings a month, you won't
Mm.
be able to have that same time with every client, and then you're going to start feeling weird because your service standard has dropped.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, that would make
So,
sense.
yeah, the quicker you can almost, and here's a lot of people when they're thinking about hiring assistants, yeah, they think it's going to be a 25, 35, $45,000 salary, and it really
Mm.
isn't. That's what it might look like a year from now. But in the meantime, there's a lot of people where you can share an assistant for 1 day a week, and you're probably going to be paying $15 to $20 an hour. So you're
Mhm.
really looking at maybe $160 or $200 a week to get 8 hours of someone doing all that work that you don't like to do.
Yeah. Okay. That's definitely doable.
Yeah.
Even at this stage, if we as I not if as I keep up with the growth now, that's absolutely doable.
Yeah. Because when all the admin stuff, and you're probably similar to me in a way, like if you don't enjoy doing it, you're probably not going to do it, or you're going to
Mhm.
do it like just with the not with the same energy and zest that you do when you really like doing things, right?
Right. Right.
And so I always think we're kind of whenever we're taking someone else's unique ability, we're kind of taking their job. And because I know a lot of assistants who just they're like, here, give me the project, let me take it, and they get so excited about doing all the paperwork and making sure all the paperwork's ready and getting it
Mhm.
all set. And we're like, oh my God, how can anyone like that job? But they love it, right?
Yes,
And
that's
that's when you
true.
know you've got the right hire. So you could start with a
Yeah.
day a week. You could start with 2 days a week. You could eventually get to like a full-time position. And there's like lots of courses you can take, like Recruit Select or those where you can figure out how to do it. But that's
Mhm.
where your freedom's going to become.
Okay.
And then the next thing that's going to happen as your volume keeps increasing is your buying time. You're going to
Mhm.
start wanting to reduce because working with buyers is highly unpredictable sometimes,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Very true.
It could be 10 hours, it could be 200 hours till someone finds a
Yes.
house and you get paid the
Yeah.
same amount of money.
Exactly.
So the whole kind of perfect blueprint for you is here's what I do really, really well. And I love solving complex problems and dealing with my clients and following up. And basically, you're the shepherd of the transaction. And
Mhm.
that's what you mentioned earlier. That's where you create your raving fans and everyone loves you on that part.
Mhm.
And then it's like, how do I backfill my operation now so that all of the system is, it just gets done whether I'm doing it or not. It's kind of
Mhm.
like if you look at McDonald's, their staff turnover is 400% a year. I don't know if you know that, but every
Oh my
McDonald's they
goodness.
go through
Wow.
four, and but they know it's not people dependent. Their system is system and model dependent. And anyone, they're like, we know you're leaving, but we're going to train you on our system, and we hope it's as profitable for us being here as it is for you being here. But we know you're probably going to move on, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's really your system is what's giving you the security, not the people. But you initially start with someone to build that system, and then if you got the right hire who's got what we call talent and capacity to grow, then that's the winning formula. And then when you actually get an assistant and a good assistant, I will guarantee you that's the first step to doubling your income.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Definitely, yes. Definitely something to build on.
Yeah. Because most agents look at it as an expense, right, April, as
Yes,
an
true.
assistant. But if you actually looked at it and you went, okay, if I have to pay someone 35,000, but that could generate 200 or 300,000 a year in additional income,
Hmm.
where else could you get that return on investment?
Right. Right. Great way to think of that. That's absolutely because it's true. We do all we do is pinch numbers and think
That's
about
right.
that. So yeah.
That's right. Right.
Hmm.
So, what did you hear so far? What have you heard? Just for the people listening, because we talk pretty quick, we go through things. So, I always want to hear what you heard.
What I heard and took notes on here, writing quickly, the slowing down the listing process, which absolutely makes sense. I mean, it's very easy on the buying side because it kind of all sort of gels into one thing after another, and there's that process kind of works. But the listing side of it, yeah, it's true. We get so caught up on, I got a listing, great, let's go, and let's get it sold quickly, and we really don't sit down and slow down with that. So to get 7 transactions, or to have that potential for 7 transactions from one listing is just phenomenal. And even just to have that mindset going in with every listing and have that, I tack things up on my wall. That's what I do. I've got a dry erase board full of pipeline leads and whatnot, and things printed out on what to do. And, to have that, put in front of me will definitely, and to, check mark off on things and, to kind of do that per listing is just a wonderful way to kind of go into it. Now I definitely am thinking already differently about my next listing and the taking apart the every detail of the listings and putting that asterisk beside what I love to do. I mean, that's brilliant. I wouldn't have even I wouldn't have even thought of that. You don't focus on what you love to do because you're just doing it and you are pumped with energy. So to have
Yeah.
that, again in front of me is great. And yes, growing moving forward. I mean, I've toyed with the idea of an assistant or someone to help with the stuff that I can't stand, and ironically I started as a real estate admin, so I definitely know what it takes, and I grew from there as well. So I definitely, it's something to definitely work towards. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like another way to look at this is when you're in your unique ability of like actually listing properties and
Mhm.
counseling people and negotiating and removing conditions and firming up deals, that
Yes.
could be worth $200 to $1,000 an hour. That's actually what that skill is worth in the marketplace right now.
Wow.
Because most agents don't, a lot of them, especially because we have so many new people right now, they don't have those skills, right?
Yes.
But doing a feature sheet, entering stuff into your customer database, that might be worth $20 an hour.
Wow.
Showing a home might be worth $100 an hour or $50 an hour. Doing an open house, depending on how good you are, like I know some people who their whole career is just getting leads from open houses, then that to them is a $200 to $1,000 an hour open house. So it's really not about working more to double your income. It's just if you were to look at a week and you're like, I'm going to work 40 hours this week, how many more hours can I get at between $200 and $1,000 an hour? And how many fewer hours can I spend in $15 hour activities and hire somebody to do it?
Mm. Wow. Great. Yes, definitely.
It's kind of like the magic formula, right?
Yes.
Well, because what most people do is they spend most realtors in their week, maybe 30 or 40% of their week is just in like frustrating, irritating time because they're just doing stuff that they don't like
Yes.
to do, right?
Absolutely.
And maybe only 20% is their super unique ability. So it's just the transfer of that. And that's what we found to be the winning formula for. And if you look at where the real estate industry is going, is the single agent is dying off because their market share is being eroded, not only because there's a lot more agents and, you lose good clients because someone's husband's just got their license or daughter's boyfriend or whatever, but the expectation of the public right now is that it's speed. Like it's like if they text you and you don't reply in 5 or 10 minutes, people are like offended, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, so what you're seeing is more and more big teams are dominating real estate, and they're just taking their unfair share of the market because a team is really a group of people in their unique ability all the time.
Good. Yeah. That's neat. Yeah, that's true.
So that's kind of like the winning formula. So does that give you an idea of kind of like, do you have a bit of a blueprint then on what to follow?
No, absolutely. I'm going to be typing this all up, and it's going to be all around me. I'm one of those note takers, and got to print it out, make it look good, put it in front of my face so I can see it every day. But it helps. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, well, I'm very excited for you, and I think you're going to be well on your way to doubling your income next year because when you change your focus and you start looking, okay, this is where I actually make my money, and this is where I get my energy from. Because when you're doing something you love, you've got energy, and when you're doing something you don't like, you have no energy, right? So you'll procrastinate on it. So I'm very excited for you. I think we've got a bit of a blueprint for you to operate on, and thank you so much for taking the time on this call.
Thank you so much, Glenn. Thank you very much.